Mobi Free. Die gaan ons alles vertellen over hoe de publieke sector en de semi-publieke sector beter af is in een open source omgeving. Of hoe dat mogelijk gemaakt wordt. Ja, the floor is yours.
Cool.
Dankjewel. Ja, we zijn goed te horen, denk ik. Hallo, welkom. Leuk dat jullie allemaal voor onze sessie hebben gekozen. Ik ben inderdaad Marit Hoefsloot en dit is Danny Lemmerhurt en wij werken bij Waag Futurelab. En Danny gaat even uitleggen wat Waag precies allemaal doet.
Ja, ik heb nu alleen maar één probleem. Ik heb de presentatie voorbereid in het Engels. Zou iemand een groot probleem daarmee hebben dat ik nu even kort voor 10 minuten naar het Engels switch? En dan... Oké, mag altijd, super. All right. Today we would like to actually, to set the expectations straight, we would like to actually put you to work. So this is an actual workshop, which is quite nice, I think, after the lunch break when you are in your midday dip anyway. But before we go and work, we would like to tell you a couple of things about this Mobi Free project that we are doing. So it's basically about designing a fully open source mobile ecosystem that can enable public organizations to step away from Apple and Google and become independent from big tech organizations. So, Waag Futurelab, how many of you know us? That's a good amount. So we are a cultural organization that exists for now almost 30 years. This year it will be 30 years. And basically we are researching the relationship between society and technology and how we can design more just and sustainable, just and sustainable future for us. So, and we do that with a team of developers, social scientists and artists, and think about, okay, what are emerging technologies and what are the underlying cultural assumptions of these technologies and how can we design technologies in a different way that make us less dependent from big companies, for instance, and that also incorporate public values in their design. And so we have recently adopted more of a value-sensitive design approach. That's a visualization of an app ecosystem, a mobile ecosystem. So it includes not only the mobile phone, but also the cloud storage that is needed to host data from apps, the operating system, the app stores, apps. I overlooked now middleware and SDKs and all kinds of other things that we can think of. But this is basically a simplified version of a stack, a mobile technology stack. And what we are thinking about now is how can we frame the discussion about what this mobile phone, this ideal mobile stack should look like when we think about values. So here I listed a couple of questions that all hint at different values that inform the design of apps. So usually when we think about commercial apps, apps are intended to create a lot of attention and user retention because that makes money and scales the user base. If we think about app stores, I think people who have developed mobile apps, and if you published your apps to Apple or Google, maybe you have made the experience that Apple and Google will say, well, but what is here the innovation about this app? Our service does the exact same, so you will not be published on our app store. So there's censorship going on and so forth, but based on a particular conception of what is added value for the app store. We could ask also questions about cloud storage, for instance. Okay, often there's a discussion about, okay, downtime of the servers or security of the data. Now also we have discussions about, is the energy that powers cloud green or not? So there are all these different values that are constantly popping up and that are also influencing our debate about the technology stack that we are using. And what we are doing right now, so we are part of a European consortium that is also partnering with NLNet. So we try to design a more ethical, open and sustainable mobile ecosystem. And that's the Mobi Free project. And it's framed in these terms, so it should be more ethical and humane. We are working together with Myrena, who are developing together with the E-Foundation, the EOS. So it's an Android version that is de-Googled and tries to cut any ties to Google servers. And it's more privacy preserving. We are working with F-Droid, which is one of the forerunners in alternative app stores, which is fully open source and also promotes free and open source apps as alternatives to Google apps. And we work with several other developers to try to come up with a product that is fully open across all layers of the stack. And our role here, and that also gives a little bit of a background for the workshop that we want to do with you. So our role at Waag is now to think about, okay, how do we set up this design process for this mobile phone so that the mobile phone actually resonates with the values and the interests of our end user groups. One of our end user groups are public organizations, so cities, maybe also the national government, and NGOs, the civil society organizations. So we think through all these layers, not only thinking about, okay, our interaction with the app, for instance, how does the app resonate with us, and how do we like it, but what is the underlying technology stack, what was the design process behind this to give shape to the app, and also what are the foundational assumptions and values that are written into this app, for instance, or mobile phone. So, and for the Mobi Free project, we are working in different phases. One of them is defining the foundation, which is usually talking to, for instance, developers, people who work at public institutions, humanitarian aid workers, and young adults. These are our 4 end user groups. We ask them about, okay, what are your experiences right now with the mobile phone that you are using? What do you like? What do you not like? And if you could give these reasons why you like things or not, if you could give it a name in terms of a value, what would that value be? And based on that, what are the design requirements that follow from these values that you find important? For instance, if someone says, I really value privacy, for instance, or I really value being connected to my friends all the time, what kinds of design requirements follow from this? And with these 10 commandments of design requirements, we then go to the developers of the Mobi Free consortium and try to help them think through, okay, your open source software, how can we adjust this to make it more attractive to these end user groups? And then in the end, we also have a piloting phase. And you are also warmly invited to join that. So we will work with 120 testers who get the Morena phone with different softwares pre-installed. And then we test how this Morena phone works for them. So that's the project. And today we would like to work with you through these questions of, okay, how do values and open source mobile telephone alternatives fit together, because it can be a bit of an esoteric topic, and I also see wrinkles on your forehead, so maybe you can't see properly the presentation, or maybe you ask yourself, what is this man talking about? Yeah, we would like to talk with you about 2 questions. If you were tasked to design an ideal mobile phone for your work, what values should be central for this phone and why? And how would this mobile phone then differ from your current mobile phone? So, and how we do this, Marit will tell you more about.
Yeah, so what we would like to do is invite you to discuss with your neighbors what your ideal values are for your mobile phone or like for your work phone specifically. And what those values mean to you, and what role they would play in this like ideal phone. And what we've thought of is we have a couple. It's like a very simple handout that just has space for 5 values. So in your group, you can think of 5 values that you find important, and then write a little definition and why it's important to you. And we have as like inspiration for what kind of values you could include in your phone. We have these cards that all say a value on it in Dutch and in English. So you can use this as inspiration for your discussion, but if you come across any values that aren't on these cards or that you want to combine together, you can of course do that as well. But then please explain it in your definition, like what it means to you, because you can talk about safety, but is it about safety of your data or safety of like the phone itself, that it can't be like hacked, that people can take care of your, like that people can get into your like banking accounts or something like that? Or is it more about public safety, that you want like phones to be able to be used by the police to go against like terrorism attacks or whatever? So you can define all these values in very different ways. So that's why we're also very interested in which definition means a lot to you. So what we're going to do is that we'll form a couple different groups, and how we're going to do this is by bringing 2 rows of 5 together. So the people in the front row can then turn around a little bit and talk to the people in the row behind them. So this is one group. This is going to be one group, and maybe you want to like sit a little bit closer to each other, and this will be one group, and then the same on this side. So I'll give you a handout and some cards. Do you have a pen or do you need a pen? Oh, you have a pen. Okay, great. Here's a handout. Here's some kaartjes. Hallo. Dankjewel. Hallo. Here's een handout. En wat kaartjes. We kunnen hier ook een aparte groep van maken. Misschien is dat makkelijker. Dat jullie gewoon met z'n 4 of hier met z'n 5. Hebben jullie ook een pen of moet ik er even eentje pakken? Hallo. Hier is een handout. En wat inspiratiekaartjes, alsjeblieft. Hallo. Hier is een handout. En wat kaartjes. Hi, hier is een handout. En wat kaartjes. Oké, jullie hebben ongeveer 20 minuten of zo.